Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.
Hola, this is WIllie, not CM Punk. Welcome to another classic modern film review. The days are getting shorter now for the big one to premiere, and I'm still continuing on with the Batman and Superman reviews. So just like I did with Tim Burton, I'm taking on from the modern reviews Joel Schumacher's Batman in 2 video parts, starting with Batman Forever. After the big complaints of Batman Returns being too dark, the studio would boot Tim Burton out of the picture and then being replaced with Joel Schumacher to make it more kid-friendly. In Batman Forever, Tim Burton would serve as the producer, and then Michael Keaton would leave the picture and then be replaced with Val Kilmer as Batman.
It did very well at the box office, but critics were skeptical about its over-the-top acting, cheesy approach, and even I felt this took a step backwards from what the world of Batman is supposed to be. The plot in this movie is the generic superhero story. Batman goes head-to-head with 2 new villains in Gotham, TwoFace, played by Tommy Lee Jones, and the Riddler, played by Jim Carrey, who plan to take control of the city's mine. But in this movie, Batman gets help from his new partner Robin, played by Chris O'Donnell, and the seductress psychologist Dr. Chase, played by Nicole Kidman. I saw this movie when I was a kid many times, and I enjoyed it, though I still prefer Burton's version. But as I got older, I started noticing the problems this movie had with the villains, the goofy dialogue, and just how Gotham looked. At the same time, I also noticed the good things that were better than Burton's version. Oh, did I just say that?
Yes, I said it. If there's one thing Joel Schumacher did better than Tim Burton was to give Batman more character development.
Val Kilmer is a much better Bruce Wayne. He's more convincing with his flamboyant presence, enterpriser, and they actually make him seem smarter. As Batman, he did alright. He's not intimidating, and he has to say cheesy liners, such as, "It's the car, right? Tricks like the car." But he has some cool visuals, like when he comes out of the fire, or when he and Robin are running to the screen in the end. As much as I liked Keaton as Batman, they did nothing with him as the series progressed. In here, you get a much better understanding of Bruce struggling with the pain of his parents' death. He revisits his repressed memories on the day they died, and we're given a much better understanding of why he became Batman. There's a deleted scene where he goes to the Batcave and finds his father's journal, only to discover that he is the cause of his parents' death, and then later re-encounters the nightmare that inspired him to become the Batman. Now, why would they delete an important scene like this? This would have added more weight to the drama and made the movie a whole lot better. Bruce and Dick Grayson have the best verbal interaction of the whole movie. It adds more to Bruce's character as it does for Grayson, who seeks revenge on Two-Face for having killed his parents. But Bruce doesn't allow him to go on that path because he's been there. He knows the consequences of taking someone's life. They managed to have enough time to develop Dick Grayson as Robin, and it works pretty well. Though I found it very rushed how all of a sudden he's accepted by Batman to become his partner. But their interaction was the best thing in the whole movie. And if I gotta be honest, I was a fan of the dynamic duo, yeah.
And here's where I start saying little positive about this movie.
Nicole Kidman is a good actress, but she's totally wasted to be a generic bombshell for the hero. She's supposed to help catch the villains, but she's too busy trying to get laid with Batman's costume. Now, it's not her fault, it's just the script doesn't do any favors for her. She's fit with lines to refer herself as a girl. I just find it very juvenile to hear a grown woman refer to herself as a girl. I didn't know who was supposed to be the main villain. At first I thought it was Two-Face, but then they switched it to the Riddler. For me, even when I was a kid, I found Jim Carrey to be an odd choice. I know it was to capitalize on his popularity in the 90s, but it seemed odd to go from a dark tone with the villains to a goofy over-the-top acting, and as I grew older, I even began to feel irritated of him. However, I can put up with him because it was expected from Jim in the 90s, but if he was making this character right now, they probably wouldn't allow half of the things he did or said. I'm not that familiar with the comic book Riddler, but I've heard he can be crazy at times. Besides, I enjoyed the riddles in the movie back then and now, despite Batman answering them so quickly like in the 60s show. If there's one guy I cannot put up with, is Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Yes, everyone has complained about him, but I'm still continuing with the tradition. Don't get me wrong, Tommy Lee Jones is a good actor, but what bothers me about his character is he could have been a really good interpretation. His introduction proved that. He sounded smart and almost philosophical, saying how true justice is obtained by chance. So far, so good. But instead, he's played up like everyone has said, a Joker spin-off that even I saw as a kid. They point out that he has a double personality disorder, but we never see his normal personality. He only comes out laughing, jumping, giggling, dancing as over the top as he can and manipulating his coin toss, which is a far cry since it doesn't resemble anywhere close to his dark comic book character or even the animated series. His motivation to chase Batman makes no sense whatsoever. He tried to save him and now he wants to kill him because he tried to save him? That only spells out lazy writing. At times, both of them together were very annoying. I felt like they were going at it to see who could overact the other.
But hey, if you're in a positive mood and you come across with this movie, you might actually find Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey pretty hilarious as comedians.
The set design worked for and against the movie. As a setting of its own, it looks really impressive, but not for a Gotham City. It comes out very neon, punk rock looking with flashy colors around it and not the gothic tone that Gotham is known for. In another world, this would work perfectly fine, but in a world where a dark vigilante hides in the shadows really seems out of place. The soundtrack is okay, it can pump you up, but I would be lying if I said it's better than Danny Elfman's version.
What's ironic about this movie is that on the same year, an animated movie of Batman was released and it was better than this. Is it kind of embarrassing that a cartoon took its audience more seriously than this adult version?
Batman Forever is not a perfect comic book movie. Some fans even view it as the worst, which I think it's over exaggerating. It's not fair to be hard on it just because Joel Schumacher is associated to the one we'll get to very soon. They at least dwell more on the psyche of Batman and feels more relevant than he did with Tim Burton. They try to set serious themes of revenge and its consequences to appeal adults, but any serious approach is completely overshadowed by the cheesy dialogue, the corny scenes, and the hammy acting of the villains that take most of the screen time. Now, it's not the actors' fault, they're all talented. It's just that they're given wrong direction because the script demands it. However, it does manage to entertain you through the end, whether it's its cheesiness, the over-the-top acting, the action, or just how the movie looks. But as much as it looks good, it's really not that impressive. It's only a popcorn, turn-off-your-brain blockbuster film. If you take your Batman glasses off and just see it as an action movie, you might find it more enjoyable and humorous at times. It's not good, but it's not terrible either. Out of generosity, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 stars.
So yeah, those were my thoughts on Batman Forever. What did you thought about the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? You can comment down below and say why or why not. This review's not over yet, cause still I gotta review the other one. Until then, see you in part 2.